All right, shorting NVIDIA after the huge market crash yesterday. It did pop up high, so we're looking for a way to get in. It started hitting the moving averages on the, let's see, the hourly over here. You see the circle up here? That's the 8 moving average coming down right there. And it hit the moving averages on the 15, which you can see right here, which is the 20 moving average. So I started shorting in that area. The close is way down there, but the 200's coming up here on the 15-minute chart. Here's the hourly chart. Prices below the 8 and the 20, but not below the rising 50. So we have to be careful. But let's see what we got here on the 5-minute chart. Everything's going down. The moving averages are all going down, except for this opening hiccup here, which got it above the 8 and the 20, which didn't cross on the 5-minute chart. The direction of the 5-minute chart is still down. 15-minute chart over here is a crossover with the moving averages dropping below the 50 and the 50's coming down, right? So we're still thinking it's got either it's going to stay in this area, or it could definitely try to go down to that 200 moving average. If it goes over the high of the day, I'll just get out and call it a loss. See, right now on the 5-minute chart, it's bouncing off of these moving averages. Let's see if it can rotate back down and through and fill that gap. All right, I closed the position because I didn't have enough to get out of some of it and keep the other. So here on the 5-minute chart, you can see how it was bouncing off the 8, and that's a good place to try to scalp, take a profit. Maybe it'll bounce up. Over here on the hourly chart, it is toying with the 50 going up. So let's see if it rotates back up and gives me another chance. You can see on the 2-minute chart here. Let's look at the 2-minute chart. Should have waited for it to come back up though. I was waiting for it to bounce and I missed it. Coming up into these moving averages right here. And the trend line is coming down. You can see right in that circle on the 2-minute chart where it bounced back down, going back down. So that was my goal and intention. To buy it back, I was shorting. So to get out of the position when it hit the 8, and buy it back when it came back up to resistance. So it still may give me a chance to short again. So that's what I'm gonna be looking for, to reshort. All right, it came back up pretty high, but it is over the moving averages. The market looks like it's basically flat, however, so I'm not too concerned about it. The overall market itself, let's see what it looks like here. Here's the overall market itself. And you can see the Qs, which is the NASDAQ, which is what NVIDIA trades on. It's still heading down, but you still got these moving average support. So it's still tricky, but it is trending down. And all the moving averages above it are down. It's just in between, and that's where you can get into a lot of trouble if you're not careful. And the daily chart still looking, here's the day candle yesterday. A big crash, and then we got it turning red and pointing down, and that's the market that NASDAQ, that NVIDIA trades on. So over here, I took another trade up here when it rotated up on the 2-minute chart. Took another trade, but I took it, kind of high up where it was. So let's try that again. So you can see over here in the 15-second chart, it is. I'm going to take that. I'm going to close that. Hopefully I don't know if it's going to go down any further. It might just stay in this range.
Order filled.
This is the second time that I shorted it down into this area. Let me circle where I just sold it. Right here. We shorted it 2 times at the top. Once here and got out here, and once here and got out here. It looks like it's making lower highs, but so let's keep an eye on it. It might break the bottom. The problem is it's got a lot of support, and it may just go up and down and zigzag. When it's in between the 50 and the 20 like that, I call it ping-ponging. It ping-pongs up and down, back and forth a lot. You can definitely get a breakdown, but it's not guaranteed. On the 15-minute chart, you see the rising 200, and it bounced up in between the 8 and the 20. But the crossover took place on the 15, even the 8 to 20 crossed under the 50, which is under the 100. It's just everything's above the 200, so it's sandwiched in between. And you can see prices coming back up again right here, as anticipated. But so what can happen is basically anything. It can keep zigzagging up and down. It can have a breakdown and go down enormously, or it can even fool everybody and go back up over the top and be a bullish day. We just don't know. All right, so let's hold on and see. All right, it came all the way back up, as you can see on the 2-minute chart here, into that trend line area. So I shorted right here, as you can see, and it's consolidating. It could come up. I'm breaking even on this
Order
trade.
filled.
So I broke even on this trade just because something's telling me it's just, if it went down, that would have been great, but and I could have had my stop higher to this pivot, and that could have been a mistake. Maybe it's just going to snap up here a little bit and keep going down, and it may just be so super choppy that it's impossible to get a decent trade on it. Let's see on the 2-minute chart. I mean, at least I took a try when it came up to the moving average here, our trend line here. See, now it's going in the right direction. So it just whipped me out, or the problem was I didn't have my stop up high enough. All right, I prefer to short it if it's higher up, and I should have had my stop in a better place. Look at this drop that just took place, but I did get back in, and I didn't want to get back in after it had fallen so much, but I saw the markets pushing past the moving averages, which is this right here. The Qs were pushing past this, and they could have easily bounced back up, but I'm saying I took my chance. There's a nice drop here. It just started pushing past. So I took the chance of getting short with NVIDIA, and it worked out. But I did get out quickly, and that could have been a mistake. Why did I get out? Well, it's bouncing off of, on the 15-minute chart here, it's bouncing off the 200 moving average. I'd like to see it, maybe consolidate, come up a little bit, consolidate, and rotate back through it again somehow. But just this one long move as it continues to go down is not necessarily a guarantee that it's going to keep going. So as soon as it pushed, I got out because I saw it hitting the 200 on the 15-minute chart. Let's see if it gives us another sell setup here. Okay, I really need to take a look at what's happening here now, because things are so choppy and in the middle that you get to a point where you're like, okay, I don't know what it's going to do, and I don't feel safe in this trade. All right, price has come back up on the 2-minute chart, as you can see here, and hopefully it'll rotate. This is pretty, in the area of this trend line, moving averages, and the problem is there was some good news that came out, and even the markets are going up. We want to always pay attention to where the price is, the moving averages, and all the time charts related to the market, and everything should be synchronized together. So I took a short. Let's take a look at where I took that short here on the 15-second chart. Everything was breaking down, and I wanted to get back in it. And so I'm trying to figure out why did I take this trade again here? Let's see here. I got back in right here, short. And it basically, since I have a little bit of a profit, I can take riskier trades. Probably not a smart thing to do, but I have some profit to work with now. Could lose it all if this thing keeps going up. I'm not gonna lose everything. I'm just gonna say, hey, I should have gotten out. What's got me in is that price is rotating up here. Moving averages 8, 20, and 50 are going up. So I look at the 2-minute chart. Price is really, it's nothing too bad at the moment, because the 8, 20, and 50 are all down. Hasn't even had the crossover yet. The only thing we had was price pop up over the top, give us a little scare, but there was no rotation. Now, if the 2-minute chart had the crossover, the 8 going over the 20 and everything over the 50, just like we have on the 15-second chart, if that was happening here, then I would take a look at the 5-minute chart and say, what's going on over there? If there's a crossover, like the 5, right here, we almost have a crossover. If the 8 was crossing over the 20 on the 5, I probably would just cut it out, keep some of my profits, and try to figure out what's going on. 15-minute chart, however, looks bearish. It's just toying around the 8 moving average area. The 20 is coming down strong. Everything's under the 50. So you got to...
Order filled.
Oh, did it get my profit target? Oh, it got my profit target. All right, so I probably should have been paying more attention and lowered that. So technically it was almost break even, because by the time I put my trades in to protect myself, the price had gone up too high. So that's my bad, but still, I entered in right here. We exited out for a small profit. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, is the market going to reverse and go up because of the good news report? And probably think about not shorting so low now since we see it bouncing up so high. So I'll look to short it again until we have a bullish crossover on the 5 and 2 minute chart, which we don't have yet. Bullish crossover is the 8, 20, and 50 all crossing over each other heading up. The 8 over the 20 and both over the 50 moving average on multiple time charts on the 2 and the 5. So here's the 2 minute chart. We don't have the crossover yet. And the 5 minute chart is not crossed over yet either. The 8 has not crossed over the 20 yet. But so you can see it's trying to bounce up again. So we'll be looking for another short here shortly. Just to make sure we saw what happened here, you see how the markets were going down real nice. This is where I did that push to go down. And we profited right here on this push. But then the news came out and all of a sudden it went up. Not one candle, but 2 candles. Then we have the 8 crossing up over the 20, heading up. And then we have this candle. And it's ping-ponging sandwiched in between the downtrending 50. So here's where we get this next drop. But that's still caution. When this starts to turn right here, especially on the 15-minute chart, which is what this, although this is the 5-minute chart. Well, yeah, the 15-minute chart, if that was happening, you definitely want to pay attention. Here's the 15-minute chart right here. It was just barely coming over the 8 moving average. Well, we don't trade in the direction based on the 15. We always pay attention to the 5-minute and the 2-minute. All right, 5-minute and the 2-minute. And the 5-minute right here was definitely going up over the 8 and the 20. All right, we always want it to look down. All right, I'm going to try to get into this trade before it breaks down, but I'd really like it to come up and get me. I might not have a chance for that to happen, unfortunately, but price likes to snap up before it goes down. So I'm going to see if I can get it to come up and get me before it goes down, because I do want to short right here.
Order filled.
Okay, so it did. It snapped up to get me. I want to go short. At least, I'm not getting short down here on the pivot and then having it come up like that on me. So we're trying to wait for it to come up, get me in. You could do a breakdown or breakout entry, or you could do a entry on the bounce back or the pullback. So we're trying to see what's going to happen here. Everything looks like it's going to continue down, but we'll see how this works out here. Well, this is definitely what I want to see. I hope it continues to just do this going down thing. Every time it comes up, it makes a higher low, which is great. But anything can happen. It could take off and go to the moon. But we definitely like to see when it gets up there, this sudden candles, this sudden move down. But it is choppy and anything can happen. All right, I've decided the market is too choppy. Here on the 2-minute chart, you can see what it's doing. It's chopping. And even when it looks like it wants to break out, it goes back into the range. It could eventually just break down. I decided to close my position right here. And now it's going down, of course, but that's fine. If it comes back up reasonably high, I'll look for another opening. On the 5-minute chart, it's just stuck right here on the 200 moving average. It's trying to push through it now. There's a pivot right here. It may push through it. If it does push and close and this kind of thing on the 15, if it does get past this pivot and consolidate with some narrow range bars like right here and continue down, I might try to short it again. I'm not really convinced this is going to keep going down yet, but we'll see. Maybe I missed that particular trade. Let's see if it gets past the 200 on the 15-minute chart. It tried to go through it once and bounced up pretty high and then kept chopping. There's no reason to think that it's going to go down right now. The overall market, let's take a look at that, is basically chopping around and trying to push. And it could be, see, now it's closed below it. And it closed below it before. That's where these green candles got some good news in the market. But then after that, it just sort of started drifting down again. It'd be nice to see if this was going to stay that way. And then we could look for a place to go short on it. So let me get back to that and think about how to get back in this thing. I probably should have just stayed in it, but patience is so important. I guess didn't want to keep chopping around on it, but okay, I did get in lower than where I got frustrated and exited. And this time the plan is to go ahead and add to my position. I'm pretty convinced it's not going to go up and be a bull day and go over the top, over the high. If it does something like that here on the 2-minute chart and take off and go over the top of the high, and then that would be a loss for the day. That would be just, you know, the worst case scenario. Get out, call it a day. You made a bad decision. So I'm looking forward to adding back up in here in this area right here. This is an add area. So if it comes back up here, I'll add to my position and try to build it bigger. Try to get a bigger position. See if I can do that. Okay, one thing I definitely need to pay attention to starting on the 2-minute chart, although I'm looking at the direction of which direction it's going on the 5-minute chart. The 2-minute chart, we finally got price closing above, well, it did it earlier, but it's closing above the 50 right now, and we have the 8 crossed over the 20 in this area. So what do we have? We have the 8 crossing up over the 20 and price going over the 50 moving average. Sometimes that's an area to add to your position, but it's also a sign that it could be turning around. Okay, I'm watching the market carefully, and the market's getting over its 50 with its 8 crossing over its 20 also. Right here you can see. Now, price has gone over the 8 and 20, and the 8 crossed over the 20 before, but the descending 50 was still in place. But now price is trying to hop up over all 3 moving averages. And now the 8, this is the 5-minute chart on the Qs. So we're watching a potential crossover reversal here happen. This happens all the time. It doesn't mean it's going to reverse, but it's a sign you need to pay attention to. So I'm looking at my 2-minute chart here, and I'm looking at my 5-minute chart. What is my 5-minute chart showing? We don't have the crossover yet. The 8 is not crossed over the 20. Price has been hopping over both of these moving averages for a while. It's in a sideways market, but I definitely, sideways in this little box right here, but I definitely need to pay big attention if price hops up over and carries the 8 over the 5, I'm sorry, the 8 over the 20 and continues up over the 50. It had on the 5-minute chart. That'll give me a direction change. So I guess I'm okay for now. I'm still watching the 2-minute chart carefully here to see if it's going to drop back below the 50, but now price is up over. It's pinched between the 100, the VWAP, the 50, the 8 and the 20. It's sandwiched and tight in between there. What we want is it to just be rejected and come back down below the 50 and cross the 8 back under the 20 and have everything coming back down this way. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it'll go in our direction here. Also on the 15-minute chart, all day price has not really closed over the 8 moving average. Here's the 8 moving average. Price has been rejected off of it, and then in just the last couple of bars it's closed above the 8 with a nice pintail off the 200 that's coming up here. So it could easily bounce all the way up to the 20 moving average. Even if it's going to continue down, you could see that and it could be a pintail, which like all these pintails over here, or it could be a complete reversal day. So pay attention. If price changes direction according to the 5-minute chart and the 2-minute chart, and things are looking bullish on both charts, then the objective would be to break even as fast as possible and get out of the position. Okay, I think I'm going to be looking just to get out of this trade. Let's take a look at why that's becoming more important to me. On the markets, the Qs here, which is the NASDAQ, we have the crossover, all the prices and everything, including the moving averages, are heading up over the 50. Here's the 50, the cross of the 8 and the 20 has come over the top of that, and now the price is over all 3 moving averages. That's one sign right there. Okay, that's a very important sign. The same thing could be happening. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. That's the 5-minute chart of the markets. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart of NVIDIA. 5-minute chart of NVIDIA is showing us the crossover of the 8 over the 20, which is the first time today it's happened. Now price itself is over the downtrending 50. It's in a resistance area, but it's a very high intense moment of awareness. Just be aware. So what I did to try to kind of get myself out of this is I added to my position to average my price in a little bit, hoping that it falls. And then if it does fall, we will be exiting out of our position. And here is what we're doing. Right here in the 2-minute chart, it popped up over the top of everything. And it's got this, everything's over the 50. This is a bullish little pop right here where the 8 and the 20 are over the 50. And if the 50 starts to curve up, that's really going to be bullish for the 2-minute chart. So I added up here in this resistance area. See, this is the add area. And I averaged my price in from way down here to right here. So it's easier for me to get out and break even. Hopefully it will give me a chance to get out and break even. Even if it comes close to my break even, I'm going to get out. There's another chance for me to do it. I can do it one more time, but then after that I got to take my loss. If it gets up into this area, these areas up here, I can try it one more time just to get out of the trade for break even. And that's my goal now, is to get out of this trade for break even. Okay, I'm thinking this through. Where do I want to hit my maximum for loss? Like I said, if it goes over the high of the day, I want to get out. If it goes over the high of the day, it closes over the high of the day and pushes over the high of the day, I know it's time for me to get out. So let's see if I can break even and get out of this trade before that happens.
Order filled.
Okay, I brought my stop up pretty high here. Yeah, we're getting some bullish tendencies on the 5-minute chart of the markets. Right here, you can see that it's consolidating over the moving averages and trying to push up higher, right? So the 8 and the 20 cross the 50. The 50 is still going down. So there's a chance that it's going to come back down. And before it goes up, if it were to go up, there's a chance that it's still going to pull back a little bit. It is hitting the resistance areas, so it's likely that it will pull back. But if it goes over the top of the high of the day and consolidates and keeps going, I'm going to take my loss and just count it as a loss. So we got all this still to try to see if we can break even on this trade. Okay, I got my reasons pretty good to get out of this trade. I got my order in to break even. We see even on the hourly chart how it's coming up to the descending 8 moving average. That's what this is. The 8's coming down. It's heading up into that area. On the 15-minute chart, it's struggling at the 20 moving average and into these pintails. You know, I'm hoping that it'll pull back and get me out of this for break even. That would be great. That's what I'm shooting for here. Okay, it looked like it worked out good. Too nervous to hold it for this kind of drop. I would have been nice because I had pretty heavy. I had added 2 times to break even. I brought my average price all the way up to here, and I was able to get out of 90% of the trade. I still am holding a little bit, which probably should have just gotten out of the whole thing, but we are still short a very tiny bit. And let's see what happened. Let's take a look at what actually happened. So the thinking was good, that if it got up into the 20 moving average on the 15-minute chart here, that would be resistance right here in line with all these pintails, right? And that's what happened. Okay, so I added 2 times to get my average price up, and then I got out. All right, so let's take another look at everything and make sure that we are trying to short this. It's possible that I'm on borrowed time, that if it looks bullish. Now let's take a look at the market real quick. You can see the market right here. Price was up over the 50. It's still over the 50, and so is the moving averages, but it's dropped back down below, and it looks like it's dropping down below. It could just be a good time to get out of the trade and wait for a better setup too. There's no guarantee that it's going to keep going down. I don't like that price is above the 8, but it's in between the 8 and the 20, finding resistance on that 20 moving average. I'm still profitable for the day. Fortunately, I didn't lose anything because I broke even on those ads, so that's good. 2-minute chart though, I don't like that price is above, but we're going by the We're going by the 5-minute chart for the direction, and that 20 moving average is coming down, holding everything down. The 8 moving average on the 60-minute chart is holding everything down. It's possible we'll get this pintail to continue down. What I could do is just break even over the top of this pivot, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm put my last little piece over the top of this last pivot here and call it a day. I'll still be profitable, but there's a chance that this could continue to go down. I'm going to put my stop loss for the last bit right over the top of that. Okay, I closed my position as it shot way down on this long spike down, and closed my position. Okay, that's a choppy day, and we did pretty good, thank God. But right here we closed our position as it shot down. It would have been great to have held all my adds that I added, but that's just not smart. The only reason to add like that is to break even, and that's a hard lesson to learn, okay? Because you never know if it's going to keep going up and you're heavy. You don't want to be oversized on something that's going against you. And according to the 2-minute and the 5-minute chart and the market chart, things were looking like they were turning around against me, and you have to take measures, okay? So right now we're profitable for the day. I may or may not take any more trades, but we'll see. You can see here on the markets how it had shot down really fast and back down into this area. And I said, you know what? It's going up now. Let me go ahead and grab that and get out of this position. I missed a bullet up here. This thing could have kept going right on up and right on up against me. And I had added twice already. And when that happens, you're looking to break even. When the price goes against the way you're positioned, the best thing to do is to get out immediately for a very small loss or to break even if you can. All right. And your trade had gone wrong. If my goal was for this to break down right here and keep going down. That's the market. We're looking at the market right there. It didn't. It head faked to the top side, and now it looks like it's continuing down. Here on the 2-minute chart, the goal was to see NVIDIA break down this way. Here's the head fakes. And going against you, all the moving averages are starting to go up over the 50. On the 5-minute chart, the 8 crossed over the 20. On the 5-minute chart, you got to watch out. That's really the direction you're looking for, is following the 8 and the 20 and the 50. When price goes over the 8 and the 20 and 50 and you're trying to short, you're looking to break even and get out. So if this were to change directions and go back to where the 8's under the 20, and everything's sort of kind of pushing down and you get a little narrow range bar and an opportunity, I wouldn't say that's bad. Let's try to short again, really. But I can't do it yet. Right here on the 15-minute chart, it went up to the 20 and it rejected. That's what I was hoping for. As I was adding, I said, let me see if I can get out based on the 20, and we were able to get out. Drop back down, made a profit on that last little piece. And now here again, we're at this support area what the 200 is. And so it's really tough to short this. And we'll see if it breaks this ledge. If it breaks below the 200 and keeps going, then we will have an opportunity. But it may not break through that. It may just continue to chop around and bounce around. So we'll see. I need to make a note on this that I should have kept everything on break even instead of taking that out. I guess I was so emotional about just making sure that I was okay, because my break even was way up here. And even though I got out of most of it because my rules had demanded that I exit the trade, it was going against me. I kept a small piece, which is smart. And when it shot down like this, I got out because I figured, man, I'm making some profit. I almost, had a bad day. But technically, as long as it didn't go above my break-even price, I was still profitable. There's no reason why I needed to really get out other than just an emotional impulse because of what I just went through of this huge move going against me. Now, if I had, I would be even more profitable right here, and the markets are breaking down, and it's quite possible that this could have been a very successful short had I not gotten out too early because my break-even was way up here. Just something to make note of. All right, I'm taking a short position here, a small position. It finally broke down the low of the day, and I got it on the 2-minute chart anyway. We've got a couple pintails pushing off the descending 20 moving average. It broke below the low of the day right here. That's a good sign. The problem is there's a strong candle on the market, which is right here. Everything was breaking below the low of the day here. It was consolidating right at the low of the day. It finally pushed down. But then look at this candle right back up at bites. So I'm going very small in my position. And I'm not going to do anything crazy at this moment. Hopefully it will keep going down. We'll try to add if it goes up higher to build the position to a reasonable size. Let's see what's going on the other time charts. We've got the 5-minute chart here. All it did was really kind of, looks like it's just kind of going up and testing that area that it was bouncing off of. If that's the case, it's going to keep going down. So if it goes up a little higher into the bottom tips of that range, you could add a little bit maybe. Right here on the 15-minute chart, you can see it pushed down below the low of the day here. But then now it's right back up. That's a pintail coming right back up. So still, the overall look after it bounced off that 20 moving average is looking pretty bearish, even though it's popping right here. If it's a choppy day, it's to be expected. Will it reverse and go up and close above the high of the day? The chances of that is low, possible, but low. So we're still kind of bearish on this. All right, let's examine what's going on. First thing I do notice is that the markets have crossed over again, and that's not good. If you're trying to short, you don't want the markets, again, like they did over here when I had to get out of my position. We ended that position, broke even when it got high, added to it till it got high, and then broke even, and then scaled that last one down. Started a new position. Now, you don't want the markets to be crossing up over the 50 moving average. The 8 crossing the 20, they're still below the 50, but they're heading in that direction, all right? And you have to be on high alert. The support level right here of the market held in this area, but now it's not holding. And there's a trend line coming down that it's trying to break over. This trend line, if it holds, it'll push it down. So it's a very intense moment for the market, all right? So we're in a very small position, as I said earlier. So we're looking to stay in the short position. And here we are profitable now, finally, over here on the 15-second chart. You can see. But we are looking to add to this position, or if it goes up higher, to add to the position. But the problem is if it goes up higher, the market will look even stronger. So you can get in these real conflict situations. Anyway, that's where we're at the moment, so let's continue to observe this. Okay, now I have to pay attention to something. What we have is a bullish trend on a small bullish trend, pullback kind of thing going on here on the 2-minute chart, as you can see. Remember, although the 50 is going down, and that's good for us, the 8 and 20 crossed and price has gone over all three, the 8, the 20, and the 50. Very important for turnarounds and potential adds to your position if you're shorting in this case. So what else we're going to look at here is what's going on the 5-minute chart to see if we need to worry. Like we did up here where the 8 crossed the 20 and price crossed the 50, everything was above the 50 even though the 50 was going down. Same thing happened, but it did reverse for us. We're kind of getting something happening over here. The 8 has not quite crossed over the 20, and all three are not over the 50 yet, so that's good. So we're noticing that it's not too intense of a pop-up yet. So if anything, we might be able to find an area where we can short. Over here on the 15-minute chart, we had that scary pop-up that only went to the 20 moving average before coming back down. Price had only gotten up to the 20 moving average on the 15-minute chart. So we're not even up to the 20 moving average yet. Again, it can get up to the 20 moving average and come back down. So we're on high alert is what we are. We're on high alert. And then we finally need to look at the market. What's going on in the market? The market is on the 5-minute chart is giving us all a turnaround crossover. 8 above the 20, both above the 50, and price above all of them, and price is pushing up. So that's concerning in the market. Over here, we had price above all three moving averages, except that 50 was going down. Here, the 50 is barely going sideways. So that's an indication that things could definitely be turning around. That happened yesterday. As soon as the 50 started going in the other direction, the whole market went in that direction. So we got to be very careful here. This time adding to our position could be dangerous. All right. First time was over here, but the second time could be dangerous. All right. It's looking bullish right here. It's starting to push up. So we have to be very, very careful. All right. So that's where we're at right now on this final trade here. On the hourly chart real quickly, we can see that there's a trend line that it bounced off of or created last time. When we had that pop up right here on the hourly chart, it tested the 50, which is still going up, by the way, on the 60-minute chart. Bumped into the 8 moving average coming down right here. Let's get that clicked on. 8 coming down, descending nicely along with the 20, right? And if they cross under the 50, that's going to be good for the bears. And it's heading up into that trend line again, this trend line right here. So that'd be a good area to keep an eye on it. Let's set an alarm in that area on the hourly chart just so we can be aware when that intersects, watching that for a possible add to our short. Okay, for the second time today, it looks like I'm going to try to break even. I just added to my position. You can see on the 15-second, 2-minute chart, I added up here. It seems to be a reasonable place. It's hitting the VWAP, the 200 moving average. It's stretched up into this pivot up here on the 2-minute chart. And like I said, on the hourly chart, we hit the alarm. The alarm went off. I took a look. It's hitting this trend line right here. That doesn't mean it can't go up to the 8 and even keep going. It's just an area of interest. So I'm going ahead and add my first ad. I try to do at least 2 ads to break even. That's the first ad right there. And we'll try to break even on half of that and see if we can get that to come back down to break even. My break even is, let me put a box to show everybody. It's right here at the moment. That's where break even is at the moment. It was way down here. So let's go ahead and keep an eye on everything. All right, so I did get out of some of that. I don't know if I got that in the last clip or not, but we were waiting to get out of the last bit. It came down close to break even. I should have waited. It was a little antsy, so I got out of some of it before it went to break even, which is this box. It ended up going to my target break even. I got out of half of it a little early, and now I'm trying to get out of the other half, the same distance I got in early. I want to get in afterwards, so there's a box I drew to mark that. I could have gotten out at break even again when it came down here. We still got a little time left in the day. I'm still waiting for it to come down to this point right here to get out. The trade had gone bad, so we're just breaking even to get out. We're still profitable for the day. Let's take a look at what happens here on the 2-minute chart. You can see that the crossover took place where everything went over the 50. It went up here where I added and it scalped down to break even, which was good. It could continue to go up where it's bouncing here and looking like it's revving to go up over the top. That could happen. We never know what's going to happen. If it breaks down below, we're good to go. But it's still questionable. You just don't know. 5-minute chart looks like price had crossed over all 3 moving averages right here, over the 50, 8, and 20. But the 8 and 20 did not cross over with it. So it's still weak. Downtrending 100 moving average. So downtrending line. So everything's good. But for a minute there on the markets, we were getting a little nervous because right here's where it crossed over all moving averages. Right here's where we added for the drop down to break even. And then it created a couple pintails off the 50. Everything's above all 3 moving averages, the price. Now it's starting to drop below, which is a good sign. But right here for a minute, when it created those pintails looking like it wants to keep pushing up, that was a little nerving because we definitely would have had to figure out how to get out a little quicker. And I could have already been out of this trade had I waited patiently, for this break-even moment here. Instead of getting out early, I should just got out of everything right there, and I wouldn't even be worried about that right now. I'd be out of this trade looking for another setup or be done for the day. So here it is again at break-even, in the break-even box. I should go ahead and take it, or I should wait for it to come down to my target, which is down here. Sometimes it's just good to take a little bit extra loss instead of trying to get perfect on the trade because you can get hurt that way. Okay, it's still looking bullish here. But what's great about right now is if I get out right now with this little tiny loss on this last trade, I'm still profitable for the day. I'm in a good situation where I could try to work this out on a daring and risky trade to kind of keep working it to the short side, adding. It's very risky because it could go wrong and I could end up from a profitable trade to a very losing day. So it just depends on the risk factor and what I want to do today. So that's where I'm at. I'm still holding. Everything looks like it's bouncing. Let's go back over to the market and see those pintails. It ended up actually bouncing off the 50 down here, rising above all three moving averages. Now it's starting to close above the 100 moving average. So right here we got the crossover of, let's take a look at this. Right here we got a crossover of the 8 and 20. Then we got it price rising above the 50. Then we got the 8 and 20 rising above the 50 here. And now we got the 850 and 20 all going in the right direction, even ticking up with the 50. Now the 50 is ticking up a little bit. And now price is pushing up over the 100. That's the market. That's what's going on in the market. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart of NVIDIA over here. Take a look at that real quick and see what's going on. Taking a look at the 5-minute chart on NVIDIA right here, you can see now price is finally closed above the 8 and the 20. That's dangerous. It's pushing above the trend line. That's dangerous, right? So all it had done in this circle is we shorted and broke even on the downtrend there. With that little red candle is where we could have broke even, got out of everything when we noticed it in the very beginning starting to turn against us. Now we got a green candle closing above a red candle, and all the prices closing above the 8 and the 20, even though they haven't crossed yet. We still see the push, right? So that's why it's even more risky now. That's the 15. I'm sorry. That's the 15-minute. That's the 15-minute. The 5-minute's clearly looking bullish, at least from here. When you got the crossover of the 8 and 20, now you got the crossover with everything going over the 50 as well, and the moving averages are starting to move over the 50. That's why it's looking like a reversal. So the question is, do I really want to take a risky trade right now when everything looks like it's turning around? Or can I just get out with this little loss on this last trade? That is the question. Well, one more thing I need to go over is that hourly chart. Remember the first time when I had this trend line that was coming down, on the circle, that's why it's in the circle. We did that add, and when it came down, that's when we broke even. It could have got out of the trade completely. I only got a part of it. Remember, that's what we're talking about. Now it's bouncing off that trend line and back up higher, back up to the 8. Now it's hitting the 8 moving average, right? And there's another down trend line coming right here. So we could put another circle as an area of very high interest, which is the 8 moving average and another trend line where this candle is going to be bouncing into. That's an area that we could be adding if we're going to add and continue to try to work this last trade out. Okay, I got what I deserve for being too risky, and that is I broke even for the day. I lost my profits from earlier today. I definitely wasn't about to go ahead and go into the negative. I've learned not to do that. Thank goodness I finally learned not to do that. Now we still got 20 minutes left of the day or whatever, and it could definitely go in my favor and could have been. But it was when there's only a little bit of time left in the day, and I'm able to break even for the day. It's gone against me in a major way. I've already added twice, right? And I missed my breakout moment. There's at least one breakout moment, a break-even moment where you can break even, and I didn't take it. Okay, so that's what I want to make sure I pay attention to on this very first break-even moment down here. This is where I could have ended my trade and completely been profitable, very good profitable. Instead, I got out of everything except for a little bit, and I held, and I added 2 times. I don't mind adding twice. I added here, created a break-even here, and I added here and created a break even here. You can see this little pintail where it came down a little bit. If I had been a little quicker on the finger, I could have, gotten out of a lot of that right there on that little pintail down. I just wanted to wait until it came all the way down. Like I said, you're good for one break even on a move that goes against you. You're good for one break even most 99% of the time. But like yesterday, I had the same thing. I could have broke even and ended profitable, but I didn't. I held it, and I actually ended up with a loss. Today I'm learned not to hold it for the loss. Just take your loss, lose your profits that you've made for the day, but don't take a loss. All right, so that's what I did. I got out right here, closed everything right here, and I'm not going to wait the extra 15 minutes that we have for the day. Yeah, 20 minutes left. It could go in my favor, but that's just too much pressure, and that's not the way I want to trade. So that's what I need to learn today. What I need to learn today is that breaking even is a good strategy if it goes against you, but when you get the break even, take it. Do not play games with your break even moment. And I remember many times trying to do that, and it just does not work. If you get a break even and it starts to go against you and you're able to break even and get out of it, take it. Let that be a lesson to me that I'll never forget. Before we go, we might as well point out what we're looking at here on the markets, and all the way back to the very first moment that we saw the turnaround point and the pintails that looked like they were going to continue up. Once it started crossing above all the moving averages, it just didn't look back, right? And on the 5-minute chart here and 15-minute chart of NVIDIA, once it crossed right here over the 5-minute chart over the moving averages, put in the pintails, it never looked back. Like I said, it could last minute go in my favor, but that's too risky. You can't trade like that. On the hourly chart, I want to point out that my last ad was a reasonable spot. It was the spot where it was hitting right up here at the what is it, the 20 moving average. We added right here at the trend line and the 8 moving average, and we added all the way up here at the 20 moving average. Those are incredibly good spots to take your chance to break even and get out. Now this is if a trade's going against you and you've got to dump it. All right. Otherwise, those would just be good places to short in general if you're not already in a trade. All right, but as you can see over here, we are still not going down, and I'm going to wait until the market closes to finish this video so I can show you what did happen. But regardless, even if it goes down and is successful, waiting to the last second like that when it could go against you many times over is not worth it. Okay, so how did the day end? Let's check it out. Come and check this out. Right here is where I had my break even, this box right here. And then up here is where I added right here, which brought my break even up to this box. And we had this dip down to try to get out. It didn't quite come down. I should have taken some out. And I ended up closing because it looked terrible. And then here's what it just continued. It looked like it wanted to come down for a minute, and it just went straight up. Where I did a little scalp up there for a minute. But it just hung out high, and I would have lost a lot more. I ended up with a profit today. Well, a break-even profit. It's very close to break-even, especially had a little bit extra on this short up here that I did. But I was really thinking about going long right here, right in this area right here. And I probably should have. But we're so close to the resistance highs of the day and everything else. So the lesson for today is, again, take your break even when you get a chance. If everything's going against you in the wrong direction, right here I should have got out of everything. And that way I could have thought about going long. And that happened to me yesterday, except I ended up with a loss for the day. I learned that today not to, continue to hold after the second ad. After the second ad yesterday, I continued to hold and added 3 times. And I said, you know what, keep it to 2 ads. If you can't break even, which yesterday I had a chance to break even, like I said, and I didn't take it. Today I had a chance to break even. I didn't take it. And the thing I did better today than I did yesterday was that I got out, even though I added the second time and I ended up getting out. Like yesterday I didn't, and it went against me just like today. And I ended up with a loss. And so I'm glad I learned to get out, even if it's going to wipe out my daily profits, because ending with a 0 is much better than ending with a negative. So anyway, hope that helps. Peace.